I'm Councillor Anne Stribley. At the time of Sea Music's inception, I was chairman of the planning committee, and in 1990 to 91 I was mayor of Poole as well. Poole Arts Council, I believe it was, had the idea of sea music. They found suppliers for the steel, they found people who built it, they found Anthony Carrow, who agreed to design a piece for Poole Quay. And I was involved once it came to the planning committee for consent. When the application came to planning committee, as you can imagine, not all local councillors, particularly at that time, were very interested in public art, and they couldn't quite make up their mind if this would be a good thing or not on Poole Quay. And finally they delegated me as chairman of the committee at that time to visit Sir Anthony's studio, view the maquette and inform them in effect whether it would be an acceptable public contribution. So I went up to Sir Anthony's studio. At that time I took with me Councillor Brian Leverett, who happened to be the local council for Poole Town Ward, and he later became leader of Poole Council. And we went up to Sir Anthony's studio, we reviewed the maquette, which really took me by surprise and actually rather took my breath away. And we also saw, of course, some of his other creations and a lot of photographs of what he'd done. And we had lunch with him and his wife and came back and reported back to Poole that we thought it was an eminently acceptable, in fact a beautiful piece of sculpture for Poole. It had been designed to go on the pumping station on the quay. The quay in those days was somewhat of a bleak place, and I suppose because it was custom designed for that particular position, the shape and design of it reflected the musical signs. It also was substantial enough to make a significant impact from viewing on the quay. And as an afterthought, Sir Anthony had added, in effect, the viewing platforms, which were not in the first design, I believe, so that members of the public could not only view the piece itself, but they could actually go up and have wonderful views of the quay, Poole Town Centre, and of course across the harbour as well. So it sort of became a multi-use thing. I think that's the renaissance of something is quite important, because we tend to ignore what we see every day. It was a big piece of news when it was first erected. Everybody came to see it. People came from long distances, they commented on it, they were photographed on it, they viewed it and so on. But for the local people, it's been there a long time, and it's there every day, and they almost don't notice it, some of them. And actually to bring it back to everybody's attention and to realise what actually a great asset it is to Poole, as well as something great to look at and very significant in its location, I think is a good thing. And for the young people, of course, perhaps whose parents have never bothered to tell them what we've had, then that is also important. There are concerns about the cost of the sea music sculpture. There are inherent costs in its maintenance and upkeep, in that if ever the Water Authority need to totally open up the pumping station, then the council could be at risk of having to pay for its temporary removal and reinstatement. However, it was a gift to Poole. It came in effect at no cost to the public purse. It was the inspiration of the, I believe, Poole Arts Council. Bourne Steel contributed and fabricated the material. Sir Anthony Carrow made the design and oversaw that. ICI contributed for the painting and materials and preservation of it. So it was an enormous collaboration between different groups of people for the benefit of Poole, and that has in effect given pool a new legacy in that it should be there for a very, very long time. It should be there for the future of pool, something that we can look back on as one of the best examples of sign of its times.